Might get a little bit annoying, but I guess I could kind of get used to it.
Now attend a mask mandate for the new school year. What we're learning now about the exceptions to the rules for students and staff.
Hospital concerns rising tonight as COVID-19 infections continue to spread. Why they say bed capacity is not the biggest obstacle they're facing.
The last time I worked a clinical shift just a couple of days ago, I put 4 patients on heated high flow nasal cannula and probably avoided those intubations and ventilations.
Improving treatment as well and avoiding ventilators. The strides now doctors are making when it comes to treating coronavirus patients.
You're watching Fox 13, and the 10 o'clock news starts now.
Good evening and welcome tonight. I'm Mark Wilson.
And I'm Kelly Ring. Thanks for joining us, everybody. First at 10 tonight, Florida's daily average for coronavirus cases is rising after another 7,300 infections were reported today. That brings the state's total to nearly 214,000. Florida is also reporting 63 new deaths, bringing the total death toll to just under 4,000. Now, the positivity rate now stands at 16.2% for the state of Florida. That's a slight increase over the nearly 15% we have seen over the last several days. And remember, the goal is about 5%. And tonight, we're also learning more about the mandate requiring students and staff at Hillsborough schools to wear masks. The school board questioned the superintendent about his plan today, which he says is thoughtful and protects everyone. Fox 13's Evan Axelbank is live at Shermonte Elementary in Tampa to explain how this is going to work. Evan?
Well, we learned today that there are going to be exceptions, but for the most part, if you come onto a campus here at the Hillsborough County School District, you are going to have a mask, whether you are a student or a staff member. And it's also going to be to the point where even if a student loses one or forgets one, they're going to have replacements for them on hand. Fourth grader to be, Vivian Anderson, is ready.
I have about 7 masks for every day of the week.
She and her mother personally thanked the school superintendent for the decision to require masks, a day after the state said schools have to open their buildings.
Teachers are going to help students get into a routine, particularly the young ones. I think just like anybody that might wear glasses, it's uncomfortable at first. You get used to it.
Doctors and parents who spoke at today's school board meeting said kids should still be given mask breaks from time to time. And the district says it's deciding how to handle students who may have medical or sensory issues. There will be exceptions for those with health issues. Accommodations will be made for the hearing impaired.
My job was to be a community leader, one that protects not only our students, but also protects every one of our loved ones and our family members.
The district says students will not face harsh penalties for not wearing them, and that they hope explaining why they're important will lead to compliance. Though nearly every speaker agreed with the requirement, one was worried about his child's sensory issues.
It's not up to the parents then to decide whether their children wear them. It's this mandate, and I just don't agree with that.
Mandatory masks are supported by the teachers union, which is especially concerned because of how closely they work with kids.
Masks are one of the few things we can do to help protect people. I know we'll have to look at social distancing and other things, but masks are certainly a great start.
And we also know that the district is going to be outfitting some rooms with clear shields for them to teach behind with a little bit of a different circumstance, or affording them a bit of a different circumstance than having to wear a mask the entire time. Masks with clear coverings are also going to be used for students who are hearing impaired. Guys, back to you.
All right, Evan Axelbank reporting this update for us. Thank you so much, Evan.
All right, so tonight COVID-19 is straining resources at hospitals all across our state, and many are making changes to try to keep up with the need here. Some are postponing elective surgeries, others are asking the state and the feds for additional personnel as well. Fox 13's Jordan Bowen is on this one tonight for us. Joining us now live in St. Pete with more on the need here locally. Jordan, what'd you find out? What are we seeing?
Well, Mark, we know Pinellas County is in need. County commissioners say hospitals here are already in the process of requesting additional staffing through the state. It's something we are already seeing in Miami. That's where the governor is sending 100 nurses to help with the need there.
Well, doctors around the world continue to learn more, of course, about the coronavirus, how it spread, more importantly, how to better treat those who are fighting it. One key factor is ensuring patients are getting all the oxygen they need to recover. Fox 13's Haley Hines is live in Tampa to explain it. That doesn't always have to involve the use of a ventilator, which is really good news. Haley.
Kelly, we've commonly heard of those severe COVID-19 patients needing to be put on ventilators, but less severe patients are getting relief and much needed oxygen through a less invasive system with the goal of avoiding a ventilator down the road.
All right, still ahead here tonight at 10. It's not the coronavirus, but it's dangerous and it's deadly. And another side effect of the pandemic.
It's a challenge that we're all facing. It's an unintended consequence of COVID-19.
Coming up, the staggering numbers in parts of the Tampa Bay area when it comes to opioid overdoses.
Plus, more travel restrictions from some of the biggest cities in the nation. Which metropolitan area is ordering an immediate quarantine for anybody who travels there? That's coming up tonight at 10:30. And Tyler's in for Paul tonight. What's going on?
Not a whole lot right now, Kelly. Things have quieted down for the evening. We have a couple of showers on Sky Tower to show you coming up. It is a warm, muggy evening, 85 right now in downtown Tampa. Pretty much rinse and repeat here for the 7-day forecast. Slight variances in our rain chances day to day, but the same overall pattern. We'll break it down for you coming up in just a few minutes.
Well, this is a hidden epidemic within the coronavirus pandemic. An alarming spike in drug overdoses are being reported nationwide. And the American Medical Association recently issued a warning saying opioid deaths have increased in more than 30 states. Fox 13's Catherine Hulley is live in Tampa tonight. Catherine, is this something that is happening in the Tampa Bay area?
Kelly, unfortunately, it is. Experts believe that continued isolation, economic issues, and disruptions to the drug trade are fueling this surge in overdoses.
Well, the Riverwalk Place project is getting a new vision right now. The new plans will bring a 37-story hotel condo tower to downtown Tampa. This project was introduced back in 2015, and it was to build really a more than 50-story tower. But today, developers filed plans with the city, and we've learned that actually lists a 37-story tower on Ashley Drive and then Brorine Street. According to the Business Journal, the building will have cafe and open-air gourmet restaurant on the ground floor, and then hotel rooms will be up on the 13th floor, and then the condo units will begin on the 14th. Not sure yet when the project is expected to be completed, but we'll certainly let you know.
Oh, certainly will. And Mark, I know you got to tour St. Pete's new pier today, so tell us what you thought.
I tell you what, I was not a big fan of that pier head design. I know a lot of people have talked about it, but I didn't mind it at all, and it's quite impressive as well. I took a little video on my phone just to share with you. What's neat about it is there's some huge open spaces. There's plenty of shaded spaces. Hopefully they'll maybe add some more shade. The floating docks, the transient docks are not there yet. Hopefully they're coming soon. But some of the highlights there, this is the entry point. It's really fantastic. The Tampa Bay Watch Discovery Center was really great. There's Janet Eichelman's artwork there. All the restaurants and bars are done very well, and the views up there are just spectacular. And there was a decent breeze today, even as hot as it was. But I tell you what, up on the 4th floor of that pier head, that breeze today, Tyler, felt extra good. But I think people are going to really love the pier once they kind of really see all it has to offer. And I think at night it's even twice as good with all the new LED lighting they're going to have down there.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see it. You did some good video too, Mark. That's awesome.
Yeah,
good job. No,
well, it's
we would expect
hard not to
less.
Want to see it all, so we did. Yeah,
good.
For sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
And I know the timing, guys, with that, a lot of folks, you can't have it fully packed, obviously, right now with everything going on, but nice to open that up for the folks that can get out there and get outside, enjoy a little time outside. It's been decent the last few days. We've had these passing showers every single day, rolling in off the Gulf and then moving across our state from west to east. The west wind pattern is locked in, man, and it's going to be here for at least the next week or so. So by the time it finally does switch, it's going to be at least a couple weeks of this. So more of that to come the rest of the weekend. Had some nice sunset photos sent in. Not a ton of color, but every sunset is nice in its own right. Indian Rocks Beach, beautiful view there. Love the reflection on this shot from Vicki Norton. You got the folks walking by and you have the wet sand from some of the high surf and beautiful reflection from some of those tropical clouds in the distance there. In Plant City, a nice country sunset. Well, a few cows hanging out enjoying that from Dana Campbell. And St. Pete Beach, this was a cool one. You see the cloud tower going up in the distance, and that's blocking out some of the sun's rays. So that's why you kind of have that patch of missing color there. Beautiful photo. And one more for you. Evening sky kind of looking inland from South Tampa down at the Tampa Yacht Club. A little shower in the distance there. These showers have continued to rolling off the Gulf this evening. 91 for a high today, so we are 7 for 7 in the month of July with 90s and even a little bit of rainfall. Had over a half inch earlier this morning here in Tampa as a shower moved over the airport. And our next tide will be a low tide coming up at about 11:30. High tide early tomorrow morning at 6:30. 7-day forecast, rain chances do go up a smidge later this week, up to 50%. We'll keep that going all the way through next week. Temperatures every single day, low to mid 90s. Guys, back to you.
Sounds good, Charlie. Thanks. Still to come here at 10:30. With the continued rise in COVID-19 cases, is the Republican National Convention still coming to Jacksonville? What the president's top health experts are now advising just a month out now from this mega event.
Today is a good day.
Every morning on Fox 13,
our goal is to show you
how to make every day a good day.
We'll tell you what's happening in our community, help you prepare for whatever weather is headed our way,
show you the best way to get to work or school,
take you places and meet inspiring people.
It's our way of helping you
make it a good day, Tampa Bay.
Republicans are facing more challenges over their plans for holding the Republican convention in Jacksonville.
Yeah, the president's FDA commissioner says it's too early to say whether such an event would even be safe. Fox 13's political editor Craig Patrick is here now to show us what's playing out behind the scenes. Let's Fox 13's Craig Patrick reporting for us. And Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's top infectious disease expert, has previously said that they need to reserve judgment about holding an in-person convention. But clearly time is running out. The convention is scheduled for next month.
Still ahead tonight, doctors across the nation frustrated with the spike in cases.
And for the first time in 35 years as a clinician, I feel totally powerless in the ICU.
The state where physicians are starting to unite to make safety demands from the governor.
Fox 13 News keeps you informed around the clock. But if you can't watch us here, use the Fox 13 News app to catch up on local news. The Fox 13 News app is available on all Apple and Android devices. Download it now.
All right, welcome back here at 10:30. You know, the Trump administration has begun its formal withdrawal from the World Health Organization.
Well, this comes months after President Trump accused the organization of helping China cover up the origins of the virus. A brief letter was sent to the United Nations yesterday making the formal announcement, and it now triggers a one-year withdrawal timeline. The president has gotten pushback from lawmakers, though, even members of his own party, over cutting ties with the WHO. Some say he should hold the organization accountable after the pandemic, and there are also fears that the withdrawal could interfere with vaccine trials. Joe Biden said today that he would rejoin the WHO on his first day on the job if he wins the election. Meanwhile, a Maryland-based company just got some major financial backing from the federal government to develop a vaccine. Novavax is getting $1.6 billion to develop one as early as this year. The money will be used to fund the company's late-stage clinical trials. Those trials are expected to start in the fall and include up to 30,000 participants.
And that vaccine cannot come soon enough as cases continue to surge now across the country. In fact, the latest data from Johns Hopkins University shows the U.S. is just shy of the 3 million mark, by far the most known cases in the world. But the U.S. is also testing more than 600,000 people every day, far more than any other country. And as you can see that here on this graph from Our World in Data. The problem, though, is hospital capacity is becoming a real problem in some cities. Chris is here now to break it down for us. Chris, I know the hot spots we've talked about primarily in the South and the West. Still true?
Yeah, still leading the country, Mark. Really, Florida and Texas adding the bulk of the new cases in the U.S. every day, along with California adding more cases per day than any other state over the past week. Texas, in fact, broke its record today, reporting over 10,000 new cases for the first time. Of course, that's a mark that Florida has surpassed twice since last Friday. But this should tell you just how anxious leaders in Texas have become. For the first time since World War II, they are canceling the Texas State Fair in Dallas, held every year in October. The troubling part there in Texas is that hospitalizations have surged in the past week, and mayors of 3 major cities, Austin, San Antonio, Houston, are warning that their hospitals are getting close to being overwhelmed. Now, Texas has seen about 1,000 fewer deaths than Florida, but look, the daily death rate is starting to spike in Texas over the past week. You can see that on that graph there. They added 85 more deaths today. As the numbers continue to climb, more states are pulling back on reopening plans and announcing new travel restrictions, like in Chicago. That city is now requiring travelers from 15 states, including Florida, to quarantine for up to 2 weeks after they arrive in the Windy City. Of course, New York and New Jersey have also added travelers from Delaware, Kansas, and Oklahoma to their mandatory quarantine list that now includes 19 states.
We watch the data carefully, and we watch not only what's happening here, but things we can learn from the rest of the country. That's why we moved forward with phase 3, but took the indoor dining piece out.
And again, the economic reopenings going backwards in many places, like starting tomorrow in Miami-Dade County, they're going to suspend short-term vacation rentals and indoor dining at restaurants. Business owners are saying get ready for a fresh round of layoffs and more people trying to file for unemployment. Capitol Hill lawmakers are taking a closer look at what they can do to try and help again. They're focusing on paycheck security, looking for ways to protect workers without more stimulus money from the federal government. An interesting note here, too. Mississippi is also seeing a rise in infections, most notably among lawmakers. At least 8 state lawmakers in Mississippi have tested positive for the virus now. The state legislature met in person during most of June, and members were seen blatantly disregarding social distancing, not wearing masks as they met in person in the Capitol building. The lieutenant governor, who presides over the Senate, and the House Speaker are among those who have tested positive. Mark?
How about that? Chris Cato with us. Chris, thanks.
Well, more than a half dozen MacDill reservists have returned home after working in some of the worst emergency rooms across the country, treating coronavirus patients. Fox 13's Jennifer Holton spoke with one local nurse who says the experience was worse than he could ever have imagined.
Still to come here tonight, the city council that voted to abolish its police department is now facing some serious dissent.
It is time to tell the city council that utopia is a bunch of BS.
The outcry from black activists in Minneapolis today, and why some are now coming to the defense of police. That's next.
Weather and traffic, traffic and weather. 2 very different things that just naturally seem to go together. Weekday mornings on Good Day.
Coming up at 11, he was saved by a stranger after getting hit by lightning. It's an emotional meeting for this Florida family. Plus,
You're coming close to me. You're coming close to me.
the man seen in that video facing the consequences now for this Costco confrontation. What started this whole thing? Coming up, top of the hour on the Fox 13 at 11 o'clock news. We'll see you then.
We will indeed, Cynthia. Thanks. The remains of a missing soldier in Texas have now been identified. Authorities at Fort Hood have confirmed that the remains found last week do indeed belong to Army Specialist Vanessa Guillen. Her remains were discovered in a shallow grave near Fort Hood, not far from where she went missing more than 2 months ago. Her family continues to demand justice, claiming the U.S. Army did not take her disappearance seriously. The suspect in her killing died by suicide last week, right as law enforcement agencies tried to make contact with him.
A recent uptick in crime in Minneapolis, Minnesota has some in the city's black community coming to the defense of police. On Sunday, a pregnant woman was shot and killed, her baby delivered before she was pronounced dead. And the killing has left some in the community sending a strong message to the city council. They believe there is a direct connection between the recent violence and the council's effort to defund and abolish the police department.
With these calls for abolishing the police and no real substantive plan to follow those words have led some folks in our communities to believe that they have a sort of open season on their enemies.
Now, the community activists say the city council won't meet with them to talk about police reform and won't take a stand against the recent violence. All right, it's sports time. Let's go over to Scott, see what's going on.
All right, thank you, Kelly. Well, the Rays are ready to ramp up the intensity this week as they get ready for more of a game-like atmosphere. And, you know, of the many areas of strength with this Rays club, number one has to be the starting pitching. How the trio of Morton, Snell, and Glasnow may just be the winning formula in 2020. Sports coming up.
By the time the sun comes up over Fox 13 country, early risers are hard at work getting ready for the day. We all know mornings can be hectic, but we also see them as a fresh start and promise to do our very best to help you make every day a good day.
Fox 13 Sports is sponsored by Reeves Import Motor Cars. Hundreds of pre-owned vehicles, one premier experience. Shop now at drivereeves.com. And now, Fox 13 meteorologist Tyler Eliason with your Sky Tower radar forecast.
Hey folks, welcome back. Got a couple of downpours out there rolling through parts of Hillsborough County. 84 right now in Tampa. Just had a heavy shower, just missed downtown. It was kind of paralleling 275. It didn't get much further south than that. Here's Sky Tower right now, kind of showing that for you. This started way back over towards Oldsmar and West Chase about half an hour ago and rolled past Citrus Park. Got some rain in Town and Country and TPA and Carrollwood, Temple Terrace getting some rain as well. That has moved just south of Lutz. So as we told you, 10:15, no rainfall there. But this is going to look like it's going to ride right up I-4. So towards Lake Thanodasassa, Seffner, Brandon, Mango as well. Looks like you'll get a little bit of rainfall, and if it holds together, even on down the road, Dover and Plant City, one isolated shower as well went right over McDill Air Force Base, heads up in Gibsonton and Riverview. A quick little shower coming your way across the bay if that holds together. 80 tonight, partly cloudy, just a stray coastal shower. Tomorrow we're back into the low 90s. I'm going to go 93 in Tampa. Scattered coastal showers again late morning, early afternoon, moving inland. And then the evening is pretty quiet. West wind, 10 knots. If you're boating, seas of 2 feet. Next tide going to be a low tide coming up shortly at about 11:30 this evening. 7-day forecast, rain chances 40 to 50% all the way through the weekend and into early next week. And high temperatures in the low to mid 90s every day. Time for sports. What's up, Scotty?
All right, thank you, Tyler. Well, the Rays, they are just 5 days into summer camp, and yet the regular season will be here before you know it. And it does not appear very likely that the Rays will have a chance to play against any opposing teams over the next 2.5 weeks. So the next 2 days, the Rays will host inter-squad games at the Trop. Charlie Morton, Ryan Yarbrough are going to get a bulk of the work here coming up tomorrow in this simulated game. Meanwhile, today, guys turned up the workload just a tad by hitting off some live pitching. And Kevin Cash saying that his team looks a little ahead of the curve. Physically, they can move things along a little bit quicker. Guys are in shape. They look good. But today, they hit the hitters. They hit it hard. The pitchers, they located the ball well. Tomorrow, the simulated game will really help these guys out.
Yeah, I don't particularly want to face anybody on our team.
I mean, take it for what it's worth, but a lot of the national talking heads actually like this Rays team, not just as a dark horse, but as a team that really could be a favorite going into this shortened season. Kind of fits them well. They're a versatile bunch, and of course, with the pitching staff that they have, they can beat any team in baseball. We've seen that.
Are we going to be able to see the inter-squad game? I mean, everybody's so hungry for sports, live sports.
Well, we will have, yes, we will be covering
highlights.
It tomorrow, and we will bring it to you tomorrow at 5 and 6.
Awesome. We look forward to that. Thank you, Scott.
We do.
We'll be right back.
Fox 13 Sports is brought to you in part by Reeves Import Motor Cars, driven by a higher standard.
The effects of a cashless society, easier and safer for some, but more costly for others. See why and how the coronavirus affects it tonight at 11.
Stocks coming back down to earth on Tuesday. The Dow, the S&P 500, and the Nasdaq all dropping after Monday's big rally. Investors were panicking about the rising number of coronavirus cases here in the U.S. Walmart is reportedly unveiling its own subscription service to compete with Amazon Prime. Reports say the retailer is expected to launch Walmart Plus later on this month. Now, customers will pay $98 a year and get perks like same-day delivery, discounts for gas, and early access to deals. More people are rethinking where they live. Fannie Mae says 61% of Americans believe it's a good time to buy a home. That's 9% more than the previous month. And according to the study, renters were the most optimistic about buying. And finally, here's something that might surprise you. According to a new survey out by the infant formula maker Enfamil, 37% of new parents say choosing a name for their baby was the most difficult decision they made during the first year of parenting. A higher percentage said that than anything else. And that's business. I'm Connell McShane.
All right, here's something that might be hard to get your hands on after today. The EPA has just approved these two Lysol products as effective against the virus that causes COVID-19. They're the first disinfectant products to earn that title. That includes the Lysol disinfectant spray and the disinfectant Max Cover Mist. The agency found they were able to kill the virus on surfaces within 2 minutes of use.
All right, well, still ahead tonight, some doggone good detective work. The happy reunion today, thanks to a local police officer. It's good stuff. And it's next.
Give clues. Guess words.
Alarm.
Best. Win money. 25 words or less.
Tonight at midnight on Fox 13.
All right, it is time now for some good stuff, and it is proof that police go above and beyond the call of duty, especially when you're talking about Mocha, the Chihuahua. Had a bit of an adventure today until he ran into Clearwater police officer Giannis.